The unwanted cry I hated the sound the moment I first heard it. That thin, piercing cry in the middle of the night, new, fragile, helpless. Most people would call it beautiful. Most would say it was the sound of life, of hope, of beginnings. But to me, it was the sound of betrayal. Because that cry belonged to my mother's newborn child. And I hated him. I know how monstrous that sounds. A 25-year-old adult filled with rage toward a baby who had done nothing but exist. But the truth isn't as simple as it looks. This wasn't just about a child, it was about the cracks that child created in the only life it'd ever known. For years, it had just been my mother and me. She raised me alone, fought for me, sacrificed everything so I could stand on my own. I trusted her more than anyone else in this world. She was my rock, my safe place. And then, suddenly, she was pregnant by a man I barely knew. A man who showed up one day and claimed he loved her. At first, I tried to accept it. I told myself she deserved happiness. But every time I saw her smile at him, every time she caressed her swollen stomach instead of looking at me, something inside me twisted. It felt like being replaced in slow motion. And then the baby came, my half-brother. The proof that my mother had built a new life, one that didn't need me anymore. I remember standing in the hospital room, watching her cradle him. Her eyes shone with a softness I hadn't seen in years. She whispered to him words she had once whispered to me. "You're my everything. I'll protect you forever." That was the moment I realized she had betrayed me. The cracks deepened at home, it only got worse. The apartment was filled with the constant noise of crying, feeding, rocking. My mother's time was no longer mine. The conversations we once had, the laughter, the secrets, the comfort vanished. Now, every word revolved around him. "You'll get used to it," she told me once when I snapped. But I didn't want to get used to it. Her boyfriend, the father, looked at me with thinly veiled disdain. "You're an adult," he said one evening, his voice dripping with irritation. "Stop sulking and grow up. He's your brother." But that was the point. He wasn't my brother. He was the symbol of everything I'd lost. And yet, as the weeks passed, I noticed something strange. Whispers at night, arguments behind closed doors. My mother's eyes, once so bright, beginning to dim. She was exhausted, yes, but it was more than that. It was as if her happiness had been an illusion. I started listening more carefully. One night, I heard the father hissing at her, "You think this baby fixes anything. You think I wanted this." The betrayal didn't just belong to me, it belonged to her, too. The shattered truth: it happened one evening when I came home earlier than expected. The baby was crying, my mother was in the kitchen, and he, the father, was on the phone. His voice was low but sharp, urgent. "No, she doesn't suspect a thing," he said. "I've got her tied down with the kid. She can't leave me now. Just give me more time and I'll get the money out of her account." My chest tightened. He wasn't just using her, he was planning to destroy her. For a moment, I froze. The hatred I had always directed at the baby shifted. It wasn't his fault. He was innocent. The real betrayal wasn't his existence, it was the man who had forced him into this world for leverage. That night, I made a choice. I could walk away, let them both suffer, let the man win. Or I could do something unthinkable, protect the very child I thought I hated, and in doing so, protect my mother. The betrayal turns, the plan formed slowly, carefully. I began gathering evidence, recordings, screenshots, bank statements. Every night, I played the role of the resentful son while secretly building a case that would expose him. And when the moment came, I struck. In front of my mother, in front of the baby he thought was his trap, I revealed everything. His lies, his affair, his plan to drain her of everything she owned. The man's mask shattered in seconds. He tried to deny it, then to lash out, but I had the proof. And this time, my mother believed me. She kicked him out that very night. The baby cried through the chaos, his small body trembling in her arms. My mother wept, clutching him tightly. And for the first time, I didn't feel hatred. I felt something else, something raw and terrifying. A strange, fragile sense of responsibility. Because betrayal had taught me one truth: sometimes the person you think is your enemy is actually the only one worth saving. The Unwanted Cry Party Chapter 1 The Ashes of Trust. The night my mother threw him out, the apartment felt different. Lighter, somehow, though the baby's wails filled every room. My mother sat on the couch, rocking the child, tears streaking down her face. "You saved us," she whispered to me, though her eyes never left the baby. I wanted to believe her words, but the knot inside me didn't untangle. Saved us. No, I had saved her. The baby wasn't part of that equation, not yet. But something shifted. Every time he cried after that night, I didn't feel the same raw hatred. It wasn't gone, it still burned inside me, but it was quieter, more complicated. Yet betrayal has a way of leaving scars long after the wound. Chapter to my mother's lies. For weeks, I thought the worst was behind us. The man was gone, my mother was free, and I was learning slowly to accept the presence of the baby. But betrayal wasn't finished with me. One evening, while my mother was asleep, I went through some of her papers. I told myself it was to protect her, to make sure he hadn't stolen anything before leaving. But what I found turned my stomach cold. Bank transfers, thousands of dollars. Not from him to her, no, from her to him. She hadn't just been tricked. She had known in part. She had given him money willingly, covering it up, convincing herself it was for the family. My mother had betrayed me too. She hadn't been the victim I thought she was. She had chosen him over me again and again until the truth was forced into her face. And the worst part? The money was gone. Nothing left but debt. That night, I stood in the baby's room, staring at his tiny face. He was asleep, innocent, unaware of the destruction surrounding him. And I whispered, almost without meaning to, "You ruined everything." But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. He hadn't ruined anything. She had. Chapter 3 The weight of blood. Months passed. I worked longer hours to help cover the bills, while my mother sank deeper into exhaustion. She looked older, her smile faded, her hands trembling as she rocked the baby. One night, she collapsed in the kitchen. I rushed her to the hospital, panic burning through my veins. The doctors said it was stress, malnutrition, fatigue. She needed rest. And suddenly, the baby wasn't just her responsibility anymore. He was mine. The first time I held him properly, he screamed and squirmed, his tiny fists punching the air. I almost dropped him. My hands shook, my chest ached with resentment. But then, for a brief second, his eyes opened. Wide, searching, fragile. And I saw something in them that stole my breath. Not betrayal, not manipulation. Just need. He needed me. That night, as I fed him with trembling hands, I realized the cruelest betrayal of all, my own heart betraying the hatred I had clung to for so long. Chapter foreshadows return. Just as I began to soften, the past clawed its way back. The man returned. He showed up one rainy evening, drunk, pounding on the door. My mother screamed, clutching the baby to her chest. He shouted that he wanted his son, that he had rights, that he wasn't leaving without them. I stood between him and the door, rage boiling in me like fire. "You're not his father," I spat. "You're nothing." But his words slithered into my mind like poison. His son? Was it true? Was the baby truly his, by blood? Or was there something more my mother hadn't told me? The thought unsettled me. It made my fragile connection to the child feel like quicksand. Chapter 5 Truth in the dark. I demanded answers from my mother. She tried to avoid them at first, but the truth cracked under pressure. Yes, the man was the father. Yes, she had known he was using her, but she had convinced herself that love could fix it. Yes, she had lied to me again and again because she was terrified of losing me. Her voice broke as she said, "I thought if I gave him what he wanted, he would stay. I didn't realize I was breaking you in the process." Her betrayal was complete. She had chosen him, chosen lies, chosen weakness. And yet, when I looked at the baby in her arms, I didn't see his father. I didn't see her mistakes. I saw someone who hadn't asked for any of this. Someone who, in a twisted way, might need me more than anyone else ever had. Chapter 6 My choice. The man threatened to take her to court to claim custody. I knew what that would mean: years of chaos, fighting, destruction. My mother was too fragile to survive it. So I made a choice. I gathered every piece of evidence. I had kept the recordings, the documents, the proof of his fraud. I delivered it to the police anonymously. Within weeks, he was under investigation, his power crumbling. My mother never knew it was me who saved her again. She never knew the lines I crossed, the darkness I embraced. But the baby he grew, and with every day, every smile, every laugh that escaped his tiny mouth, the hatred inside me faded piece by piece. I had started by seeing him as betrayal, but in the end, he became something else. Not my brother, not my enemy, but my redemption.